The next segment, we have HSE the Ongas way, how putting people and compliance ahead of production provides above average results and a safe and sustainable workplace. Craig Crocombe here is Head of Operations the Ongas. He's been leading the Vector Ongas operational team for the past 3 years. In FY24, the Vector Ongas team delivered over 1 million 9 kg, 15 kg and 45 kg cylinders while maintaining a 98.3% delivery within 5 working days average, which is quite impressive. So, Craig has had the opportunity to lead the team through the challenges of COVID-19, the post-COVID employment market challenges, and the aftermath of Cyclone Gabrielle. This has provided insight into what it takes to keep people safe, productive, and engaged through challenging operational environments. Prior to joining Ongas, Craig spent 15 years working in operational roles across the agribusiness, agri-tech, media, and building industries. I'd like to welcome you up.
Well, thank you for that, Louisa. It actually makes it look like I actually do something for a living. It's really good. HSE the Ongas way. Probably just a couple of thoughts before we get into these slides. First thought being, we're not the best, nor do we think we're better than anybody else when it comes to the HSE journey. Every business is doing their best, and today's basically a snapshot in time as to what we're doing, some wins that we've had, and if any of you can take something from this today, then that's a win for us all. Second point's probably more on sort of the broader HSE journey. When you talk to any organisation about HSE, what comes through is, we aspire and we have a vision for it to become a culture, and to become a culture, you really need to weave all the aspects of HSE through your business, and it's actually, we look at it. It's been a really good reminder for me doing this presentation, how far through it goes through the business, how much work there is and how many touch points there are. So, it's an interesting thing and it's a big thing and it's a people-centric thing, and you have to remember that you have to take people on the journey with you. So you've got all this work, but at the end of the day, if you can't get people on the bus, it gets really challenging. So I guess that sort of sets us up for the first slide. You need a vision to start your HSE journey, and within Ongas we have the 4 tenets, as we call them. So I'll just read these out because they're quite important. So, first off, we have people. So Ongas is an operational business. To be successful, sustainable and profitable, we need our people to be safe, healthy, engaged, valued and consulted. And then number 2, which often surprises people, is compliance. I've got you there. So, our business is highly regulated, and that's for a good reason. We need to keep ourselves safe, and we need to keep the public safe. So we must comply with regulations at all times, and we must empower our people to have the courage to speak up if they think regulation is being broken or is at risk of being broken. And then we have our plant and equipment. So our plant and equipment allows us to conduct our business safely and profitably. We must look after our equipment, ensure faults are attended to swiftly, and make sure we are supporting best practice guidelines and servicing compliance for our equipment. And then we have production. So production is our end goal once these first 3 things have been met. Production is where we make the money, we get the revenue, but before we get there we need to ensure our people are safe, our operations are compliant, and our plant is maintained and working safely. So that's sort of the key thing for Ongas. But to frame that out, you need to figure out what your people are doing. So let's look at a day in their lives. A driver filler averages 500 to 700 kilometres a week. Our line haul driver is significantly more. A filler can fill over 245 kilo cylinders, 315s or a combination. And if you add all that up, including the weight of the cylinder, you've got 12 to 18 tonne being moved by one person every day. Now, it's not deadlifts, right? There are techniques. They roll the cylinders, but it is a lot of weight to move. So any issues with your technique, your operating procedures, you're going to hit people real quickly, And again, our driver fillers, they can deliver 42, 45 kilo cylinders, which are actually 85, 90 kilos, including the cylinder, or over 215 kilo cylinders in a day. And often, as you know, Louisa, that's on unstable ground, upstairs, in unusual situations. So, that's what we're faced with, and that's what we target. So based on that, key hazards and risks based on activities, driving, LPG, whether it be by exposure or ignition, manual handling, slips, trips and falls, and customer risk, aggressive people, and probably more pertinent, aggressive dogs. So driving, let's start there. What did we get? We got 2.34 million kilometres FY 2023, 45 kilometres a week, wheels turning. So we do all of the normal things with this, right? We have e-road in every vehicle. We have truck checks in the mornings. The drivers are on e-logbooks, which is electronically monitored, so we can see that. Servicing requirements on the trucks are all regimented. But we do lose a little bit of oversight is actual driver behaviour. You can train them, they can do all the right things, but when they're out there by themselves, risk is introduced. And one thing we looked really closely at was speeding. So just take aside the legal part, speeding, but it's an undesirable behaviour in a gas truck especially. So how we used to deal with speeding was we would run our report weekly, and the worst speeders got bopped on the head, standard stuff. But what happens when you do that is you can lose sight of a gradually increasing base speeding, and so then you're just popping the worst speeders on the head and you're not really changing anything. So what we did is we consulted with the team and we said, okay, what's a realistic level of speeding? Because you have to be realistic, right? It does happen. Let's draw a line through that number on a week, and everyone who goes over that line gets spoken to. So you go over that number, you get a friendly chat with your manager, a little bit of coaching, away you go. Go over that line again, slightly less friendly chat with your manager, and a letter of expectation. If you're brave enough to go a third time, unfriendly chat, letter, meeting with the HR team, and that process kicks off. So that's how we've tackled that, and we've seen a drastic reduction of that base of speeding. Hasn't been popular, but safety often isn't. And what we've done post that is we've actually got them to that level, and then we've reduced it again, and it's working. So that's how we deal with that issue. Cool. LPG. We all handle LPG, so filling training as per industry standard happens. Delivery SOPs and refreshers, and then our depot checks and process safety, and we'll get into the process safety a little bit more. One thing I will say about filling, we're quite fortunate. For those of you that don't know, we run an ECM system where the fill head is barcoded to the filler and to the cylinder. We've also now linked that to filler training. So filler scans the barcode, scans his barcode, and if his training's not up to date, no deal. It's not a complete fail-safe. They can always go and get someone else's barcode, but that's then a conscious decision that they've made to go around the system. So that's something we've done there. Manual handling. I'm sure we all agree that this is the thing that comes up for us all the time. So again, we have refresher training, proper handling techniques, all of the usual things. Something else we've done though is we've got into return to work programs really heavily. So if someone does go off injured, when they come back, they need to have a plan, and that plan needs to be signed off by our HSE team and their healthcare provider, and we make them stick to it, because there's nothing worse than someone coming back and then you're breaking them again in a short period of time. The other thing we do with returning employees, whether it be sickness or injury, is we actually involve the scheduling team. So we went with the scheduling team twice a week. And when we're talking to them, if someone's been away, we discuss that individual. And then we decide maybe we'll put 60% loading on their runs for a little bit, 70% running, and just gradually bring them back into it rather than, hey, you're back. Here's 1,000 cylinders, So that's how we deal with that. And then we have the prevention manual handling course. So 2023, financial year 2023, we had a real uptick in these injuries. So the Victor board and the Victor executive challenged us to take a closer look at manual handling and prevention's where we landed. So prevention's a pretty basic course, and it runs you through some really easy to follow steps to look after yourself. We brought them into the business and we sent them out in the trucks and had this tailored to our needs. And then when we trained it, we had them train our supervisors and some of our key managers so that when they left, we still had that capability to train new employees and provide refreshers. So it's early days. I'm not hiding behind stuff, so you can see we had a really spike in FY24. FY25, so we're 4 months into it, it's looking okay. And the 4 months that we are into it are the worst months, the winter, the heavy load. So far, so good. Slip, trips and falls, yeah, it goes hand in hand with manual handling. We do pre-winter boot checks. We're really careful with our pre-site inspections, and we also make sure we have specific site notes on handhelds and on manual printed manifests. Dogs. We had a few near misses with dogs, and in the end we actually had to implement a total restraint policy on dogs. We tried ringing customers, warning them, asking them to restrain dogs. It just doesn't work. There's always seems to be a way for a dog to get out and get you, so all dogs are now restrained, also not very popular. But my drivers are not chew toys. And we paired that with the dog safe workplace training, which is really good. And again, with conflict resolution, I've seen some really good examples of drivers de-escalating situations with angry customers, and I place that on the conflict resolution, which is an in-house document tailored to our drivers. What we tracked. An organisation only does well what it tracks. So obviously speeding, we've spoken about. Manual handling trends, customer aggression in dogs. Training, now training's split into 2 buckets. So we have safety critical training and the rest. And while all training is important, we place a greater weight on safety critical training. Near misses, of course, we take very close note of those. And if I don't see near misses coming through, I start asking why aren't they there? Because they're always happening and they need to be reported. And then another one for them here, process safety. It's key. So again, I'm not hiding from my numbers. I'm not perfect. This is our safety-focused training. You can see I've got a bit of work to do here at Wiri, and well, I can, but it's pretty good. We hold them accountable. And this sort of goes into some of the auditing. So we actually regiment our depot auditing. And each key member of the management team is required to audit a set number of times each year. And we put it on a calendar, and we make sure they go to different depots so they don't just go to the shiny ones. We look at everything. And you actually get a really good perspective when, say, your sales manager goes and asks some of those dumb questions, because I miss things because I'm in operations all the time, So we get a real lot of value about that. And here's our process safety KPIs, which we dashboard with the exec every month. So you guys will get a copy of this pack so you can sort of read through what we're looking at. Just conscious I'm pushing time, Louisa. So. And then we have safety alerts. Safety alerts can be seasonal or they can be based on an event. I like to make the guys sign them. It seems to get a better engagement. And when they do the thing you told them not to do and then you claim that they didn't know, you just show them their signature. It's really good. People and framework. So we meet weekly with the operations team, weekly with the management team, monthly with the exec, and then we have HSE reps in each depot, and they meet monthly as well. And that's really key because that brings back the feedback from the depots themselves. And it also gives drivers on the depot someone else to talk to other than their manager. So the future. Need for continued reinforcement. Right. You can't. This is not one and done, particularly with manual handling and speeding. You're just constantly on it. So you need to remember that. Engagement. We actively seek engagement all the time from the team. What we can learn from other industries? Yeah, I mean, I'm always interested in what other industries are doing. Aviation's probably one that's quite dear to my heart. And if you see something in the paper that interests you, find them on LinkedIn and send someone an email. You'd be surprised at how giving they are with the information. And just one final thought. All this stuff costs, right? But the cost of implementation is lower than the cost of injury and risk to your business reputation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Craig.